Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to the Danville Architectural Heritage Board. My apologies. Normally I like to run a punctual meeting, but the clock up there is wrong. And so I was waiting for 1:15 and it just wasn't getting here anytime soon. So hereby call the meeting to order. First order of business I think Joni did not have a microphone, but I think she's passing an attendance sheet, so she's requesting the folks to sign in, if you would, please. First item, or second item, is approval of the minutes for last week, August the 15th.
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
I second that motion for both sets of minutes from last week.
That is correct. Can we do them both at one time, or? Okay, both sets to approve. I have a motion, have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? They are passed. Before we get to the item at hand, Bridget, do we have the city attorney here today?
We do not.
Was he requested?
He was.
And he is absent, correct?
Yes,
Do we have an alternate?
No, we do not.
Very well. If you will put that in the minutes, please.
Yep.
Thank you, ma'am. First and only item is the certificate of appropriateness for 124 3rd Street, and that's the Heart of Danville mural to be placed at that location. Mr. Wade, if you would like to present for us, please, sir. Just if you will announce, make sure your microphone's hot, and then let us know who you are.
Nick Wade with the Heart of Danville.
Kate Snyder with the Heart of Danville.
So we have a PowerPoint presentation for you today.
Which I get to kick off. So we recognize and sort of wanted to preface our remarks by stating how important it is that all of the decisions of the Architectural Heritage Board be rooted in the approved design guidelines for Danville. And since we figured there would be a lot of people in the room and that maybe not everybody was as familiar with the design guidelines as the board and with ourselves, we're going to do just kind of a little bit of a recap of what some of those design guidelines lay forth in terms of the role of the AHB for public art and the expectations for public art in Danville. So if I do the arrow.
Yep.
Do I have to actually scroll?
Okay.
No. That's fine.
I'm going to interrupt you just a second. Bridget, if you would just give us a little bit of a synopsis, and my apologies, because we had the meeting last week, but just kind of an overview of why we're here today.
Well, we had the meeting last week, but we did not actually approve or disapprove this COA. So in conversation with the city attorney, he advised that we needed to meet again and either approve or deny and give reasons for denial, and then that will set up the process from there. But we do actually have to take official action on the COA.
And as the minutes say, last week we had a motion to approve, but that motion died for lack of a second, correct?
Yes, and then we should have followed up with a motion to deny, based on that meeting, to deny and the reasons why you were denying the COA, since you did not get an approval.
And as a way of an explanation, this is kind of a new process with the art thing for this whole board. So it's kind of new legal grounds on how we proceed. So
Well, and then I'm going to add, there is another little caveat in this that needs to be addressed as well. If we neither approve nor disapprove at this meeting, in 45 days, it is presumed approved.
That's correct. I'm sorry, Nick. I need
No worries.
to give some background to the new folk. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. So one of the things when the city was going on through the process of doing the new design guidelines, what we heard a lot in terms of public art was that the existing design guidelines were too prescriptive and that the AHB did not feel like it had the freedom to say yes to public art, that as much as they wanted to approve great projects, the way the design guidelines had previously been written, they did not have that freedom. So in drafting the new guidelines, there was this freedom to say yes, because they were not intended to be prescriptive, but were meant to be guidelines, as the name suggests, that they could use to make their decisions. One of the other things the design guidelines state is how historic preservation supports community vitality. I'm not going to read all of these to you because you all can read, but one of the ways that I would sort of paraphrase this is to say that there is no conflict between historic preservation and modern contemporary art. Those two things work together beautifully, as this sort of suggests that there is this balance between historic and unique community features as well as new investment and community expression, and that one doesn't need to come at the expense of the other because both of them work together to fulfill the goals of a historic community like Danville. There are several guiding principles in the Danville Design Guidelines, and my understanding from everyone is that these guiding principles really are the heart of the guidelines. They are the most important piece of the guidelines. All of the nuts and bolts and bullet points that come after are in support of those guiding principles. And so one of them is that the design guidelines support cultural identity in the community. And this is very specifically speaking to public art as something that is good for the community and in fact vital to promoting heritage tourism. So we as a community have said that we want public art. This is also just the preamble to the section of the design guidelines that speaks specifically to public art, because the Danville Design Guidelines are a very big document that talk about a lot of things, including architecture and streetscapes and sidewalks, and there's one small section that deals specifically with public art. And this is the preamble to it that kind of sets the framework for what we're looking for in public art as a community. I'll summarize that by saying public art is good. Then there's one section then that talks specifically about what should be in public art. There really are only a few bullet points in terms of specific guidelines that are given to the community. They are to design and locate art so that it does not impair the ability to interpret the historic character of a building or the overall area. So no problem there. Locate art so that it does not obscure or cause damage to character-defining features of a building. Again, this proposal, no problem there. Utilize high-quality materials that promote the district as an area of high-quality design. Not a problem there. We've listed the materials that will be used in this mural that our mural artist uses in her murals that she's done across the country, so we're good there. And I've got one more bullet point that I can't see.
Mary, can we see your handout?
What?
Can we see your handout? It's on, we're reading from one of the handouts.
There's another bullet, there's just one more bullet point that I can't see on my screen.
Oh.
Thank you. The one that we had, oh, this was the most important one. I knew there was a reason I wanted it. Engage designs that are unique to Danville. Designs that relate to our heritage and character of the community are encouraged. So as we look at those design guidelines, what we see is that our mural clearly meets all of the guidelines that are set forth in the design guidelines. There aren't all that many of them. They are fairly broad, and there's no problem at any of those points with the design that we're going to be presenting here today. I'm going to let Nick take over then and kind of give more of the specifics to our proposal. I just wanted to kind of set that framework so that everybody was kind of working from the same set of expectations as we move forward with this conversation.
Thanks, Kate. Unlike Kate, I cannot ad-lib as well as she did, so I have a prepared statement I'm going to read. So I'm going to go back a slide. Good afternoon. I would like to first thank you for agreeing to rehear our certificate of appropriateness for the Andy Rudloff mural on the side of 124 North 3rd Street. The Heart of Danville is concerned about the precedence that is in danger of being set of rescinding previously received approvals for a project after it has already been started. We are here today to make our case as to why the artist's selection had already been approved and to request final approval of our mural, based solely on the proposed design and not the chosen artist's style. Before I begin, I wanted to go back to the beginning and explain why we chose Andy. Andy has an impressive CV. She's been doing art for over 20 years. And part of her CV is she has served on the Kentucky Arts Council Board of Directors. She has completed murals throughout the world and has garnered national attention for her work. You will see on your right a mural Andy recently completed in Franklin, Kentucky, in their historic downtown, and one on your left from Nashville, Tennessee. You'll see on your left the one for Grand Rapids, Michigan. In 2016, Andy completed a project for Grand Rapids as part of Art Prize, an international art competition. You can see her work here, and we have a short video to show you how her work in Grand Rapids, which we hope shows you why we feel she is the perfect artist for this project.
is gone. But the summer is gone. But the summer is gone.
Could work on polka dotting the skate.
You want to do polka dots, Em? We're good at polka dots, aren't we?
But the summer is gone. But the summer is gone.
What spot still needs a polka dot? That one?
But the summer is gone. But the summer is gone. But the
We did it! We did it! Yay!
You can stop it now, Alex. So we chose Andy. We chose Andy not only because of her creative process, which involves community feedback. We reach out to her, we pick the question, then we reach out to the community and ask for their feedback. The community is also invited to come and paint the mural that will be on the side of a building for families to come in and see, for children to help paint. There's a real connection with this particular project. I'm not done yet, though. Just so we're all on the same page, I wanted to provide a timeline for everyone to see how we arrived today. So we have been working on this project since January of 2018. You can see that in 2018, the mural was put on the Heart of Danville's work plan. We had conversations about possible artists, and we ultimately selected Andy. In March, we came before this body seeking a certificate of appropriateness to paint a mural by Andy on the side of 124 North 3rd Street. Our submitted mural COA proposal, as well as audio from the March meeting, made it very clear that we were asking a COA for a mural by Andy. If you watch the video from the March meeting, I am quoted at the 12.5-minute mark as saying, "What we have in front of you is a certificate of appropriateness for this artist mural." Mary Gerard goes on to explain why we needed your permission, and then directly asks the board if there are any issues with this type of artwork. I bring this up because this conversation is the exact reason we are here today. On March 21st, you approved our COA, which included language about approval of a mural by Andy, not just approval to place a mural on the side of a wall. With that approval, we went forward, contracted with Andy, received a design, and presented it to you last week, only to have it die due to a lack of a second. Before we stepped down, Kate asked for a clarification from the board. She's quoted as saying, "What you are saying is you want a different artist. The location is fine, but the majority of you do not want this artist to do artwork in downtown Danville," end quote. To which Tom said, "That seems to be the sentiment." This is setting a very dangerous precedent for the future of public art and projects in the historic district. If we are denied today, the precedent is set that any project that comes before you could be denied after the project has been started. Furthermore, the decision from last Wednesday was made from a place of personal artistic preferences. We are aware that this is a new process, but this decision shows that the process is broken and must be fixed. We are seeking not only an approval of our mural, but also advocating for a change in the process. Someone who wants to place a mural in the historic district needs to know that they will not be denied once the project has started based on personal taste. Decision on public art needs to be based on the guidelines set forth in the revised design guidelines and not from personal opinion. Now, we will admit that we did not make the best case for our project when we came before you last week, and we appreciate you allowing us to come before you today. So in front of you, you have received a better representation of the final product, complete with lettering and colors. The color palette is taken directly from the recently finished community brand that was started by the CVB. We recognize that not everyone will love the design, but feel strongly that public opinion cannot be the arbitrator of public art content. Whether or not people like a mural is ultimately irrelevant because it's entirely subjective. This mural meets all criteria set forth by the design guidelines. Rejecting the proposal based on personal artistic differences is a great disservice to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Any questions from the board? To Nick?
I'd like to make one comment, if I may. I don't think public art is necessarily the issue. With me, it's the subject, and I want to clarify that right up front, okay?
I have a completely random comment that I believe, or question that I believe we might have addressed in the first meeting for this mural is, what is the estimated timeline for this mural to be on the wall?
So Andy is scheduled to come to town on Saturday, September 22nd. She will arrive in town on actually the 21st to put the outlines on the mural, and then the community paint day is September 22nd.
And how long do you expect it to be on that wall, the life of the mural?
Our original proposal was for 10 years.
Thank you.
Did you say she's drawing on the 21st?
Yes.
Okay.
I would suggest that our job here is not only to look at public art, which I'm hugely in favor of personally, and I would weigh that, yes, I do have a personal opinion. However, we have to represent all of the community and the equity that we have here in the ambiance of history that people travel here to see. And that is the overriding concern here for me.
And I think that it's important to note that, we had a branding firm come into this community and selected a new brand, and our brand is historically bold. I mean, it's time for us to continue our tradition of making bold decisions. This community was not founded from a bunch of people that sat around doing nothing. I mean, we have Ephraim McDowell because he was not afraid to take a risk and perform a surgery. And I think that it's time for us to step up and continue that tradition in this community.
It's also bold to resist trends that other communities have done.
Any other questions for Nick? Nick, thank you.
Thank you.
One other stakeholder than this, John, would you care to make? I don't want to put you on the spot. You can tell me no. But since it's your building, you probably have more at stake here than anyone.
Can I move this?
Yes, you may.
I don't feel like a stakeholder. I feel like just a partner in a community that allows partners to come together. And Tom, I appreciate, Tom communicated with me today and asked me if I wanted to say something, and I told him that I would. However, Tom, respectfully, I knew John was going to ask me anyway of what I wanted to say, because John always does, and I wasn't very well prepared last time. So, John, I got a little bit more prepared for you this time. First, I really want to thank all of you all for your public service and what you all do, because it's not an easy task. But I appreciate you being a public servant and a volunteer. Having been there myself, that phone rings, and I know. I'm sorry that Martha's not with me today. I will tell you that she is in Tampa, Florida, visiting an old roommate of many, many years ago when they were quite younger and single. I would love to hear the stories that they are sharing. However, I wasn't invited. I think there was a message in that. But Martha would be here with me, and she agrees with what I'm about to say. So we're on the same page. And I realize that half of you all may not like my response, but I respect your position, and I just ask the same. But Martha and I believe that the suggested mural offered by HOD will add color, vibrance, and energy to our downtown. For those who think it may look like a cartoon, I can understand that. I cut one out this morning of the paper, and this is how big it was. And it's black and white, I understand. And I can understand that when this came out back a couple weeks ago, it probably didn't help a whole lot more. But I respect that. Yes, I can understand where that thought and comment would come from. However, you got to realize that cartoon I just showed you is 5.5 inches long by 2.5 inches high, and it's black and white. The art sample has similar appearance, but try to visualize this art on a wall that is 20 feet by 60 feet. I don't think you even begin to feel what's going to happen. The wall and the site will explode with visual perception. HOD asked the citizens of this community for input to their values through our history. And if art is an expression and a window to our history, then HOD has accomplished their goal, and if I were grading, I'd give them an A. It is a vision of where we have been and creates a vision to our future. Mary Beth, you made some comments that I read in the paper. I think you were spot on. I thought they were well said and well chosen. I think the question is, are we willing to accept something that is different? A couple weeks ago, Martha and I were in Atlanta, and I like to go through little magazines they leave in your hotel room, and this is Guide to Atlanta. I open it up, homegrown art. And if I show you this art, it's pretty similar. But then I want to read to you what they wrote in this magazine, because I think it says a lot. From awe-inspiring street murals hiding around the corner and adorning bridges along the Atlanta Beltline, to local organizations gaining national recognition, art in the city today is as vibrant as ever. Get acquainted with the powerhouses making their mark in bright and bold ways. Their works are worthy of any art lover's radar. And by any art lover, we mean just about anyone. This was in our hotel room. I imagine it was there for visitors. And I will admit, I stole their magazine. I didn't get a towel, though. This mural will become a part of our tourism attraction package and bring visitors to our central business district. And that becomes a win for everyone. We control our own destiny. by being creative in a society full of competition for everyone's attention. Finally, and I will end here, in the early 1970s, William Wesley Peters was commissioned to be the architect for a project here in Danville. He was connected to the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation. Frank Lloyd Wright is really not a non-traditional, or he is a non-traditional type of firm. However, the board of Center College commissioned him to do the Norton Regional Arts Center opening in 1973. This was quite a different look for Center, and probably considered by many as on the edge. Today, we have to acknowledge its reputation as representing the arts and referred to as a powerhouse palace of culture. My point is, Center successfully stepped outside of its traditional box. I think this project offers the same opportunity, and I would just ask all of you, are you prepared to step outside of your comfort zone? I appreciate the opportunity. Martha and I are proud to be a part of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to deny the certificate of appropriateness for public art requested located at 124 North 3rd Street based on the proposed public art does not comply with the City of Danville Historic Overlay Design Guidelines, Section 6.3.3, and will distract from or diminish the inherent qualities of the historic district.
I did not get that. So can you restate that again, just kind of,
What part?
could you restate that again? You make a motion to deny for this,
The certificate of
Okay.
appropriateness for a public art request located at 124 North 3rd Street based on the proposed public art work does not comply with the City of Danville Historic Overlay Design Guidelines. Section 6.3.3, and will distract from or diminish the inherent qualities of the historic district.
I have a motion.
I'll second the
I
motion.
have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion amongst the board?
Call for the
Have a
question.
motion, have a second, I'll call for the question. All in favor of denial, aye.
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 Opposed?
Have opposed?
Nay.
Nay?
I'm with the motion.
You're with the motion, so we have a 5-2 for denial. Motion passes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We need a motion to adjourn. We need a motion to adjourn. You need a motion to adjourn.
Meeting is adjourned.
Well, you need a motion.
I need a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. I need a second to adjourn. Second to adjourn from John. Aye.